Well, my dearies, we are back. We are back. You guys know I go to Napa on the weekend, so if you didn't watch the drive along, go watch it. I mostly go just for the scenic drives. I always carpool, so I don't drive, so I just get to like listen to Harry's house and watch the like Anna Maria has been driving like every week, so I never drive. Which is great for me because I literally just watch. It's like the scenic view every week. It's great. Anyway, so tonight I went to go see Don't Worry, Darling. Oh my god. Oh my god, this story needed to be told. So, Don't Worry, Darling, this is all spoilers. So, if you are not looking for my take, sorry. Sorry, I totally had a whole bunch of ice cream tonight, so I definitely farted. So, how do we start to tell this story? Okay. So, Jack and Alice are played by Harry Styles and Florence Pugh. I want to start by saying anyone who is doubting Harry Styles' acting ability, I think he did an incredible job. Like, this was a really great film. The cinematography was great. The acting was really good. It was filmed very well. Like, this is a really great movie. To whoever was saying like it flopped and all that stuff, like I highly disagree. Like, I just went tonight. The theater was like basically filled with Cal students. Like, and we all loved it. Like, there were so many parts. It was really good. So I'm not sure who's giving this movie a bad review, but I think it was great. Like, it was so good. It was so good. So basically, the big idea is there's this like really lily white suburb where everyone is married and everyone works at the same company and they all live in the same neighborhood. And the big idea is for everyone to continue to work for this company and like invest in this dream of the company and then like grow their families and just continue with their community. And they're isolated from everyone else. So the only people that they ever come across are like, so it's like all the wives like all know each other, all the children all go to the same school, they all have like the same school bus. There's not really anything about like everyone's in the exact same social class, they all work at the exact same company, they all kind of hold the same like values. Like, it's like traditional family, like marriage, and the stay-at-home wife is the integral part of this community, and this is the portion of the story that needs to be told. So I'm gonna start to tell this story from this like manosphere lens for a second, because for me personally, growing up in my very like Americanized experience, like I too was socialized to have an ambition to become a housewife. Like, that was supposed to be like sort of my role in society. Like, I was socialized that way. That's like the way my mother raised me. But I personally, just like growing up and watching sort of like the family dynamics and the partnership dynamics of all of the married people that I came across, I saw that so many people were in unhealthy partnerships. And there was like this imbalance between, you know, the sort of like love that I saw. Like, I think people who actually love each other should marry each other. And people should aim to have like healthy partnerships. And I just feel like a lot of people are not marrying for that. And it's just very strange to watch a whole bunch of married men at this point. Like, we're watching like celebrities who are married men cheat. And it's a disgrace. It's a disgrace to the marriage. Like, if you don't want to be a part of the marriage and you want to have, you know, extramarital affairs, just get a divorce. Like, if you're not happy with your wife, get a fucking divorce. Like, this is another thing I've just learned in my adulthood. Like, it's like people really do have types. Like, Adam Levine, who is like lusting after that Instagram model, should really go be with her. Like, the sort of lust that he feels for her, he should be feeling that for his wife. And if he's not, he married the wrong person. And that's just like a fact. And it's the same for like Nia Long's fiance or whatever he is to her. Those women that these men are lusting after, because I've had like so many men like lust after me too, and it's just kind of like, yeah, but like I don't want to be with you, or like you don't want to be with me, and like I'm not just like a body for you to like have. You know, like I'm a human person, and like that man is like a human person too. And like commitments really do mean something, and there are some people who actually value commitments. Like, and I am one of those people. And so for me personally, I'm totally fine with my like singleness, singlehood. You know, maybe it makes other people uncomfortable, and you know, I might be that person who's single for the rest of her life. Like, and I personally am okay with that. I do not find, I don't put place of value on my life in a relationship. Like, I don't think that a husband and a family is going to define who I am as a human. Like, I am Olivia, the human female, first. Everything else comes after that. Like, I'm not a family member first. I'm not a sister, a mother, an employee, nothing. First, I'm Olivia, the black female human. That's what I am. I don't want to be known as anything else. Don't call me sister, don't call me daughter, don't call me cousin, none of that shit. All of those are arbitrary labels that I've thrown out. I don't care about any of those labels. I just told you how to identify me. Like, all the trans people want to be like she, her, they, them. I'm Olivia, the black female. That's what I want you to call me. Everyone else can label themselves. That's their business. I'm not entering that space, right? Now, like 3/4 of the movie kind of shows us this really lily white world that they've created with like really, it's like, talk about the upper middle class. It's just this upper middle class experience. And we also have to just say again, there's always black women there. Like, there are no Latina women there. There are a few Asian women there. Like, there's an Asian woman who plays the wife, and then most of the women are white. A couple of Jewish women. I think classifying like traditional like white Orthodox from Jewish women is like important, but there is a main character who is Jewish and a main character who is Asian. And then there's like 3 black female characters. One of the females, she's like the first female to sort of like vocalize this, sort of uncover the like mystery of the little worlds or whatever. I'm just gonna like give you some context into the end of the movie and then kind of go back to the beginning. So basically what it is, it's like this virtual reality world that the husbands have created. So it's kind of sick actually. What they did is they strapped their wives to the bed and they put this like VR headset on them so that they see what they see every day in life is like this lily white world of like you know, they're like neighbors and pools and parties and fancy dresses and clean kitchens, and they spend the whole day like cleaning and all this shit, right? And then the husbands like go off to work, and then they come home and they like have sex with their husband, and like that's the whole world. And now I don't want to even pretend like that doesn't truly exist for some people, because it actually does. Like, I'm not even trying to like be funny or anything, but like when I was in that relationship, that short relationship with Tyler, that's kind of like what our life was like. It was like every single night I would get off of work, I would just walk over to his apartment. I mean, we just had an apartment, but I would walk over to his apartment, like we would figure out dinner, either we would go out to dinner or he would cook dinner, and then we would have sex, and then he wouldn't even let me go home. Like, I would just be sleeping at his place, and then that was my whole life. That was it for like a few months. And it was just kind of like, yeah, but I have my own life. Like, I'm not your like sex doll. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's weird. And then also, but they're doing that shit in a VR world. So it's not like the real world. It's just like they have these headsets on all day. So in reality, the wives are just in their apartments and they just never leave. And the husbands are like in this like virtual reality world. So the other part about it is, if like you die in the virtual reality world, you die in the real world. So Alice ends up like killing Jack, and so in the virtual reality world he dies, and so then in reality he dies. And then also because there's another character, I think her name was Amanda, and she was like she's like a black female wife who's in this world too. And something happened where she ends up like going to the desert or something, and I guess like if you go to the desert, you like, and you touch the top of the mountain or something, you like wake up, you come out of the VR world. And so she had done that, and but if you do that, they can put you back in by like a shock therapy or something. So they did that to her, so they get her back in. But the other thing you got to remember, because there's other women in the society already. So she was like, she had all these connections with other women, and so her experience was like impacting other women. So when she came back, she wasn't ever the same. She was kind of like, it's not the same, it's all made up, this is all not real. And she was actually right, she was telling the truth, because she'd woken up and she'd seen the reality. You know, she was hooked up to the bed and shit, and they put her back under. So all the women who were inside, they kept calling her crazy. They were like, you're crazy, you're lying, this isn't real, like, we are all happy here, you're disturbing the peace. And then slowly and slowly, like, Alice started seeing stuff too. Like she just, all this weird shit started happening to Alice, where she was like slowly starting to wake up. And then one day she sees Amanda, she like slits her throat and she hops off a building. She like commits suicide, but then they try to pretend like she didn't do that and that Alice didn't see that, and they say that Alice is like psychotic and that she just needs to go on medication. But in reality, she literally watches the girl slit her throat and hop off of a building. So they're like gaslighting all the shit that they saw. And then there's another woman, her best friend, who's Olivia Wilde's character. I think her name's like Billy or something. And the entire time, she's actually awake. So she knows that all of these things are happening the entire time. But for some reason, she's like happier in the VR world than in the real world. And it had something to do with like her children. And so some women in the VR world have children, but I guess they're like simulated children. They're not real children, because how could the real children be strapped to the bed too? That's a whole thing. But I guess they clarified like the children are like simulated children. And then, okay, another part that I think is really important about this like simulated world is like all the men got to pick their wives. So they all picked traditionally beautiful women. So all the women were relatively slim. They were symmetric, like their facial symmetry was like on point. Just no one had anything wrong with them. Everyone was beautiful. So like when I'm saying that, like there weren't any fat women. There weren't any women with like super weird noses or like extra long chins. Like everybody was like extra normal, right? Like extra normal. It was like carbon copies of like me, but in different colors, right? Like white ones, black ones, Asian ones. Well, actually, that was it. There was just white and black and Asian. That's what was there. But also, if you go look in suburbia right now, it's white and black and Asian. Upper middle class, that's what it is right now. Take a look around. All of the other subgroups aren't there. So let's just be clear. And it's also white Asians. There aren't any like Cantonese people, Hmongs, no Latinos. Like it doesn't exist. There's still nannies and janitors, house cleaners and shit. Anyway, let's keep going. So, I think that is important for a couple of reasons. Reason number one, society is trying to do this thing right now where it's just pushing via like social media and like commercials, and it's putting all of these fat women like all over the screen. Because like men, we're talking about like average men here. And when I'm saying average men are classified different than what women are classified by their beauty, okay? Men are classified by really their like social capital and their like wealth, not really how attractive they are. But if you're like wealthy and attractive, you get more points, but your attractiveness doesn't trump your attractiveness is like the last layer. It's like money, social status, and then like attractiveness is like this much. But for the most part, the more money you have, you could just like clean up nicer. You know, you can groom yourself better so that you can just appear more attractive to women. Like cleanliness, like we actually see this in Harry Styles' character in the beginning of the movie. He's like really shabby and like he's like this software engineer or something, and he's just like really shitty looking. And then toward the end, he's like very well groomed. His skin is like cleared up. He's like suited up. He like looks very much so like a part of the upper middle class. And in the beginning of the it happens toward the end of the movie, but in the beginning of his journey toward joining the society, he's very shabby. So that's a pretty important part. But like, okay, so let's go back. So these average men who have like, you know, lower incomes and very low social status, the women that they have access to are the fat, ugly women. That's how it is. And so if most men have fat, ugly wives, then there has to be something in terms of like media representation that still paints these women as desirable, because to those men, that's all these men have access to. That's who their wives are. That's how they look. That's who, like, especially like when you talk about like income levels, as people get more and more poor, they get more and more fat. Like if you notice, like the wealthier and wealthier you get, people get slimmer and slimmer and slimmer. Do you know why that is? It's because health is wealth, right? If you understand how to be healthy and you live a healthy life, you're going to be more slim. Poor people eat McDonald's every day. That's why they look like that. Anyway, so those people, those like fat, unattractive women weren't there at all in this lily white society. So we're not talking about like the real world, because like if we were making a movie about I will go back to this. The average size of a woman in America is like a size 14. Most bitches in this country are seriously fat. And everyone from every country go meet like a tourist, especially one from like Britain, who will come here, or Germany, really anywhere that's like not here, and like really listen to them talk about the problems with like American people, especially American women. They're really fat and ugly. Like that's not, that globally, that is not attractive. In no scenario is that attractive. And so another thing, like I've heard a lot of black men, they do this because they're just so, I'm telling you, like all they have access to are these like really like frumpy, fat, ugly women. Like they have awful skin and just body parts where they just shouldn't be. And so they call those women thick and curvy. They're not thick and curvy is Beyonce. Beyonce and Jennifer Lopez and Shakira are thick and curvy. Like they have an ass and tits. Do you know who's like slim? Like Kate Moss. Okay, like there's a difference between like Kate Moss and Beyonce. They don't have the same body. Beyonce is curvy, but Beyonce ain't fat. There ain't fat there. Cardi B is like thick. Meg the Stallion is like thick. These men do not have wives that look like Beyonce, Cardi B, or Meg the Stallion. They have wives that look like Lizzo in terms of their bodies. And they don't even have Lizzo is pretty in the face. Lizzo has an extremely pretty face. Their wives don't even have a pretty face. They have an ugly face and a Lizzo body. So like really, what do they have? Nothing. They have a fucking vagina and a womb. I don't even know how you can find a vagina on a 400-pound woman. A 300-pound woman. Like I can't fathom the just awfulness these men are going through. It's sad. It feels rough out there. This is another reason I would just go back to, like, people are really sleeping on the fact that they just keep saying over and over in their fucking minds that, like, there's so many beautiful women. Like, there's a surplus of beautiful women. There are not. There are not. Most women in this country are a fucking size 14, and that's huge. That's huge. That's huge. Even Rihanna, when she was pregnant, she's not even a size 14. Pregnant. Like, she's still... You know, I don't know. All of it was just incredible. And another thing that was really interesting was to watch how when Alice, like, wakes up, so she wakes up, and then she wakes all of the other women up, and everyone starts flipping out, and then the main guy, his wife, like, stabs him, and it was just kind of like all of the women woke up. But I think also it was very interesting to be in the theater that I was in and watch the movie, because like everyone's like a college student, right? And it is a very liberal, woke town, so it's kind of like obviously all the women have education, and it's just kind of like women aren't just going to deal with loser men. So just some of the situations that came up, it was just really funny because we're all like, oh my God, like just the way, the moments that were funny in other spaces, people might not laugh there. And the moments that people thought were like, there was a gasp, it was like a collective gasp, right? And I thought all of those things were very interesting. I would highly encourage you to go see it. I think that there are some people who are not familiar with kind of the monotony of being a housewife and what that is. And then I also think that a lot of men who do not have, like, I think telling the story of Jack or Harry Styles, his character in the movie, and the role that he is actually playing to provide for his housewife. He provides her with a fucking house, and he's going to work every day to make a very large amount of money to support this lifestyle, to keep her in a certain lifestyle. And so another thing that I got to say, like, I at this point I'm super seeped into what that looks like, because every wedding that I've, gone to over the last 5 weeks is the same story. Like, there are really women who are getting these like princess weddings, like $200,000 weddings at the Blue Gardens, and like, they're going to be living that lily white life. That's going to be their real life. Like, they've never had a day of like honest work. And I think it's just really important to like compare and contrast that to someone like me. Like, I have worked for like everything I have, and I'm not gonna like gaslight it here, because like I'm not starting at like square one, right? I started at square one when I was born, like that was square one. Now I'm way far, and so I've just been collecting shit all these years that I've been alive, experience, money, travel, like quite a lot of things. Like, women, as a woman, you have the opportunity to just like work. You don't have to work. Like, you could also just marry well and then go live that lily white life. I just want to be here as an example of a person who did not do that, and give you guys a really like a lens into what that looks like. Because I keep saying this over and over and over again. I'm the economy ticket. I'm what you get just by going to college, really any college, studying anything, and then just getting a job. This is not like I have to be a doctor, or like I'm not an engineer anymore. So like that's not even it, right? Just by growing up. And if you don't want to go to college, don't go to college. Be like a waitress or something. But just grow up and go to work. Like, go to work and live off of your paycheck. And then if you're not happy with the amount of money that you're making, get more education, get a better job, improve your lifestyle, and just keep doing that. That's it. That's the economy ticket. I can't really tell you about that like lily white housewife life. Well, I mean, I could tell you about it because I was living that, but that's I'm gonna save those stories for the Patreon. But I want to show you guys this story, because this is the story I wish I would have lived the entire time. I think that this is a much better story for women to see, especially Black women, because there's definitely are not enough Jacks in the world for every woman to live that life. And I think that people are doing a really bad job, especially Black men, with like music videos and shit, because it will give you this idea that like you are able to, like, you are going to like those lifestyles of like flying on jets and going all these fancy places, like that's going to last forever or even a lifetime. Like, that is one weekend. But what about all of the other weekends of your life? Don't you want those to be good too? Because you can plan for that. And you can make it so that all of those other weekends are good too. That's what I'm trying to show you. That's why I literally come every single weekend. I'm showing you guys what I'm doing. This is the life without a man. Welcome. I don't think it's that bad. I don't know. You can judge for yourself, whatever you feel. I don't know. But I will say we popped champagne every night. And dinner was great. So